Hi, so in this video, as I promised you, we are gonna start coding. We are gonna start by building this navigation on the top. So here, if we take a look, let's go ahead and analyze what is going on before we get started. Okay, so again, we already know that the visible part of the website, once we open it and before we scroll, it is called the header. So the visible area of the website in the web browser before we scroll, it is called the header. Okay, so this header contains navigation on the top, an image as a background, and we have this box right here that has a title, description, and a button. So we are gonna go ahead and code what I have said. So we have a header that has a navigation, an image, and a box right here. So again, I'm gonna start from the beginning. So here inside my body tag, I'm gonna create a header tag that has a class of header, like that. So we have a header tag right here that will present the visible area of the website that you can see right now before I scroll. Okay, and in this header, what we have our navigation as a first child. So I'm gonna create our navigation. So first of all, I'm gonna create a div. I'm gonna call it header __ nav, like that. Okay, so this is the header nav, which is the white area. Inside the header nav, I'm gonna create another div. I'm gonna call it nav __ content. Now, why I would do that? Why I will create a div inside a div? And that will become a handy once we wanna add this white space right here. Again, this extra div that will be very helpful for the styling stuff. Okay, maybe it's not necessary right now as an HTML, but again, once we come to the style part, you will see how handy it is. Okay, nav content as we go. So now here in the nav, what we have this part right here on the left hand that has the logo and the UL, and we have this part on the right hand which has these three buttons. Okay, so we want to go ahead and handle this. So here we need to create a div for these dudes. Okay, so these ones right here, we need to create a div for them, or we can simply like put them in a nav. So let me show you what I can do. I can either create a nav tag or a div tag. Like, it doesn't have all that difference, but well, feel free to choose whatever you want. In my case, well, we can, let's go ahead and use the nav tag. I'm just gonna call it nav, like so. So we have our nav right here. And we have a logo, so the logo will be H1. I'm just gonna call it logo. And I'm just gonna use this title right here, or we can use our own. So put it like that. If you want to add another div, feel free, or another D, feel free to do that. So this is the nav. It has a logo and it has this UL as well. So I'm gonna place that as well. So UL with the class of nav __ list. And in this one, we have this LIs right here. So I'm just gonna say LI. I'm gonna give it a class of nav __ item. And inside it, I'm just gonna say an anchor tag. I'm gonna give it the class of nav __ link. And I'm gonna multiply it. I'm gonna multiply this expression by 5 or 4. Okay, 4 items. I'm gonna hit enter, and that's what we got. Now let me explain what I have did, because if you are not familiar with Emmet, Well, you should be already familiar with Emmet because first of all, I have explained it in the previous sections. Second of all, I think it's an industry tool that all the developers around the world are using it. But in case you are not familiar with that, let me explain that for you. If you go to the extension tab right here, you will see all the extensions that I have. Specifically, I want you to install this one right here that I am highlighting. Okay, this is called Emmet. Okay, essentially it is a tool or an extension. This one right here, by the way. Okay, feel free to go ahead and install it. And essentially it's just like that will allow us to write code much faster. And I'm gonna explain it right here. Okay, so first of all, let's say that you want to add any tag that you want. Instead of opening like these like greater than and smaller than sign, instead of you typing them manually, you can very simply just type the name of the tag, let's say h3, and hit tab. That will create the tag for you. Okay, or if you want to inject a class for the tag, you can type the name of the tag, then dot, then the name of the class, for example title. Okay, that will create the tag as well as a class for it. Or you can add IDs, for example h2 with an ID of title. Okay, and also you can create more than one tag, for example h3 that has a class of let's say subtitle, and I want to multiply it by 4. I want to get 4h3. Hit enter, you will see that is your h3. Or you want to create nested tags. For example, I will create a div that has a class of books, and inside it like this will create a tag inside this div that, let's say it would be h2 that has a class of title. Hit enter, you'll see a div inside it and h2 and so on and so forth. So this is basically Emmet in a nutshell. So let's go back to our code. So I have added a UL that has a class of navlist, and inside it I have placed 4 LIs, and each LI has a class of nav item, and inside it we have an anchor tag that has a class of navlink. So that's basically it. So again, going back to our design, we have our navigation, or our the white area. It has this div right here, which is presented as a header nav, the white area. Inside it I have added this extra div nav content, which will be helpful for styling it, essentially adding a space from the left and right. And what I will do, I will just give it width like 90% and center it. That's it. This is the job of this div right here. And in this div, what we have two different parts. The first one is the logo and the navigation are both in like one div or one element. And we have these 3 buttons. We have added the nav, and it has a logo and a UL. And now below the nav, we want to create a div. I'm just gonna call it header underscore buttons, or links or buttons, whatever. And inside it, I will place 3 anchor tags, or you can call them buttons if you want. So I'm just gonna create call it header underscore link or button. I'm gonna multiply it by 3, give it an enter. That's it. So again, ladies and gentlemen, that was our navigation in a nutshell. It's a very basic structure. Again, I'm trying to explain that very slow, just to ensure that you guys understand and you don't need to ask any questions here or there. So again, we have a header that will present this entire area that you can see, including the background image, this box right here. But the first part, it has the nav. The nav, by the way, this div right here, the header nav, present the white area that you can see right here on the top. Inside it, we have a div called nav content, which will hold this part right here as well as this part right here. We have the nav, which will present the logo, and the UL. We have our div right here, which will present all the three buttons. So this is the first part of let's say creating our navigation. In the next part, we are gonna style it. So I hope you are like what I'm doing, and you are liking my explanation for the topics. Hopefully that makes sense. Thank you, my friends, so much for watching, and see you in the next one.